Now that qualifies as a beatdown, Rube.
Yeah, it was good to see this team jump on an opponent early and finish him off. We haven't seen that this year, so that was definitely encouraging.
Yeah, you and I talked before the game. We did a TV hit together, and we were just take care of business, and that's exactly what they did. 35-13, the Eagles win this one over the Steelers. This is the Eagle Eye Podcast presented by Nissan. He's Reuben Frank. I'm Dave Zangaro. A bunch of stuff to talk about. It was a fun afternoon over at the Link, but the headline here is the connection between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. It's special.
It is. And to think that they've only played 7 games together in their lives. I know they've known each other. They've been friends a long time, but the connection they have and the trust that Jalen has in AJ and putting the ball near him and just knowing AJ's going to, just be so aggressive. His hands are so strong. He talks about late hands, which we've talked about, but just, there's no bad matchup. I mean, he whether it's thrown to a double team, and Jalen just has such incredible instincts for getting him the ball in the end zone. I mean, what he did today. I mean, each touchdown, they were similar in a way, yardage wise, but each one was different as far as how the play was designed and how he delivered the ball, how much air was under it, what the coverage was. Symbiotic, I guess, is the only word to describe the connection that those two have, and it's only going to get better. They're only just getting started here.
And you're right about AJ. He's such a complete receiver. He can do everything.
Yeah,
he can catch a go ball. He can catch a slant and take it to the house. He can do all these different things. We've mentioned T.O. before, but that's how far you have to go back on this team to find a receiver who's this good. He's just really good. It's a matchup every game they're going to have. And look, there are some elite lockdown corners in this league. And maybe there's a game where they play one of them and they handle them. Fine. Then you have Devontae Smith, who didn't have his best game, but he didn't need to.
Yeah, I think when the season started, I thought they were going to be more kind of 50-50 between Devontae. But Devontae won with, but I mean, it's pretty clearly AJ's 1 and Devontae's 2. And that's not a knock on Devontae. Yeah. He's been fine. But AJ's just so special. And he's having an all-time – I got to look at the greatest seasons in Eagles history. And it's a little weird now because it's 17 games instead of 16. Yeah. But what's he got, 659, I think? I'm going to do some math real quick here. So he's averaging 94 yards a game. So he's on pace for 1,600 yards. And, when you think about the best years, I mean, Quick led the NFL. He had that 1,400-yard season. T.O. obviously in 2004. I'll tell you what, I mean, then you have guys like, Deshaun had some really good years. Macklin had that one huge year.
Yeah.
But, man, I think we're seeing quite possibly the greatest season ever by an Eagles wide receiver.
It's crazy.
And
yeah, it's something special. And you're right about the different the different ways they scored. The first one was just AJ. I mean, that was just it wasn't a great pass. It was just AJ got it. The second one might have been the best pass I've seen Jalen Hurts throw.
It was up there.
It was perfect. And it's that's the fun of this offense right now is that they can do so many different things. And it's like they can do so many different things. The running back can do so many different things. The offensive line can do so many different things. And when you have all that, Shane Steichen just has the whole menu at all times. Like, it's got to feel so empowering for an offensive play caller to know that you can do anything you want, really.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was kind of cool. I mean, I think Miles only had 3 carries in the first half for 10 yards maybe. And it's almost like at halftime, it's like, well,
who cares?
AJ got his, so let's run the ball. And then Miles goes for 20 yards.
He had 31 yards on that next drive.
Yeah.
Out of the half. He had 10 in the first half.
Yeah. So someone's like, oh, well, let's use Miles for a while now. And he ends up with 9 for 76 or 78 and the touchdown, which is a really nice – it was his longest touchdown in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have any touchdowns last year.
That makes it easier. Makes it easier to figure that out. But, it's scary. And then, like, we could talk about this offense for an hour and not talk about Dallas Goedert, who had – I don't know what his final numbers were. He had 64 yards maybe, 6 for 64, but made such an impact because
he's moving the chains.
If he's moving the chains, we'll have to see how many first downs he had. That one,
3.
That one that, oh, you looked that up?
Yeah.
That's impressive. The one on the 1 3rd down.
What a catch.
What a catch that was.
Yeah.
And then he just, he brings it in and then starts running over people. Every time he catches the ball, he's running over somebody. It's incredible. He's so much fun to watch. And so if you start saying, all right, we're going to just, do everything we can to slow down A.J. Brown, well, Dallas Goedert's going to be open.
Yeah.
So, this was, I think they scored more points. What did they score? 38 in Detroit, maybe.
Yeah.
But this was
the game.
Yeah. And I mean, gosh, Jalen Hurts had thrown 6 25-yard touchdowns in his life before today. He threw 4 today, 3 in the first half. So, it's interesting. Jalen just keeps finding new ways to get better. Like, he's just.
It's really funny because they didn't get into the red zone until it's so deep in this game. They didn't need to.
They had the one red zone play.
Yeah, it's really funny. He came into this game with 2 passing touchdowns or 6 passing touchdowns, but he had I don't know where I was going with that, but he adds 4 in this game. He has 10 passing touchdowns. He still has
6
rushing on the ground.
And listen to this. He's now the 9th quarterback in history with 16 or more touchdowns and 2 or fewer interceptions through 7 games.
Yeah. And he hasn't fumbled, which is a big deal too for a guy who runs the ball as much as he does.
Listen to the company he's in as far as 16 or more total touchdowns, 2 or fewer interceptions through 7 games. Brady, Rodgers, these are guys that don't need first names. Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Tittle, Peyton Manning. He does need a first name just because there's another one. Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Roman Gabriel, and Jalen Hurts.
It's impressive.
10 straight regular season wins. I mean, he just keeps finding ways to win. There's so many different ways Jalen Hurts can beat you. And he and Shane and Nick, they find a way.
Yeah, it's been so much fun watching Jalen this year. And I give him credit too, because I didn't think he came out on fire in this game. He got bailed out on that one to A.J. He threw another. It was like kind of
and we've seen that a few times.
Yeah, like weak passes, like didn't have enough oomph on the ball.
Yeah.
But then he settled in and he was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen that a few times. And there was what game was it? Detroit. He was 0 for 5, I think, and there was another one. He was 1 for 5 for like 1
This
yard.
one, the numbers were never bad because they were like making them, but it was like the throws weren't there. But then he he locked in after that.
He really did. First Eagle quarterback with 4 touchdowns of 25 or more yards since Norm Snead. I mean, that's just some of this stuff is just nuts. He's doing things that Randall and Donovan and Vic and Jaws never did. And
Jaws going to run in here.
He's 24. I tell Jaws on the postgame show.
I think Jaws admitted too.
He's 24. Yeah. Because Jalen's passer rating today was 140.6, and Jaws was like, "What was my highest?" I was like, "It was 133." Like, dang, he's already ahead of me.
Got me.
He's 24, Dave. Yeah. He's made 26 career starts.
And he's about to make a lot of money. I mean, the first second they can. Yeah, they have to now. I mean, he's not that it's a bad thing, but
fourth quarterback.
We thought we'd get an answer to this question. I didn't think we'd have it so definitively 7 games into the season. That it's not like is he not the guy? He's the guy. He's going to get a Brinks truck, and he's in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, yeah. You know what's really incredible is that we could have been sitting here in 2017 before the injury in LA. Saying, it's so hard to find a young elite quarterback. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's franchises that have been trying to do it for decades. And the Eagles had that with Carson.
Yeah.
They had an MVP, Pro Bowl, elite, record-setting young quarterback. And, for reasons that we've exhausted for years, that it didn't work out. And now they have another one.
Yeah, and it's so quickly.
Yeah.
Look at like Indy, right? They're just cycling through quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. For this team to, and I don't want to say they stumbled into Jalen Hurts because they used a 2nd-round pick on him.
Yeah,
but I don't think this was ever the plan.
Yeah,
and it's amazing to watch it happen.
Yeah, he's. I have a doc file on my laptop that is called Jalen Hurts tweets, and I've saved maybe 50 tweets where people, and it's the same kind of stuff, Eagles have a quarterback who can't throw. The Eagles quarterback is a running back, and they all end in LOL. It's like the people that would rip Jalen all put LOL on their tweets. But maybe it's the same guy doing all of them.
It means lots of love. They really like Jalen.
But he was 22, 23, and people were dismissing him. Yeah. I never got it. I never understood it. If I was him, there'd be a lot of "I told you so," but it's not in his nature. He's not wired that way. But he is shutting a lot of people up.
Yeah, he is. It was an impressive performance. A.J. Brown was great. Anyone else on offense we have to highlight before we talk about what they did in the second half?
Well, it was good to see Zach Pascal get involved.
Yeah, his first catch since the Washington game.
Yeah, he hadn't had a catch in a few weeks. Had a couple. Had the touchdown, and then I think he had a 23-yarder later at the end of the game. But that's he's an interesting guy because I think when he got here, he knew he might go a month without catching a ball, but he's always ready. Nick likes to talk about the dirty work. He's a really good blocker, special teamer. And when his number got dialed up, he was ready. And you got to love that.
Yeah, I mean, it can't be easy for guys like him or Quez when the ball's just not even getting to them. But and I don't even blame the coaching staff or Jalen because you have A.J. Brown, you have Devontae Smith, and you have Dallas Goedert. You shouldn't run your offense through Quez Watkins and Zach Pascal, but they have to be ready because there are moments like today where they might be needed.
Those three guys had 17 out of their 20 completions. Part of me is like, I'd like to see the backs get involved in the passing game, some of the other receivers, maybe the other tight ends, but you're like, why?
Throw the ball to A.J. Brown.
Throw the ball to A.J.
Let's not overthink this, right?
Dallas.
As Lane Johnson told me after the game, throw that mother effer to number 11.
Yeah, we had to bleep that out on the post-game show.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
How about Lane's costume arriving at the game?
Kelsey costume.
As Kelsey, that was tremendous.
That was good. Kelsey liked it too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I did want to bring up the second half because it was something that had kind of followed this team. They took their foot off the gas pedal in second halves of games, and they won. They were winning, right? Yeah. But there was some concern there, and I think they felt that, and that's why it was so important to see what they did in this second half.
Yeah, on both sides of the ball too.
Yeah.
Because Detroit, they scored 14 points, but they gave up 21 maybe in the second half today. I think Pittsburgh just had the one field goal after halftime, and they moved the ball a little bit between the 20s, but you knew it wasn't going to lead to anything. So they scored 14. It's the first time they scored a touchdown in the third and the fourth quarter this year. They just kept piling it on, and it was good to see. And you felt like they could have scored more. Yeah.
Coming right out of the half and getting points was big.
That was big. That was pretty much the ball game.
Yeah.
It was 11. I think, was it 21-10?
It was 21-10, which is still – that's a two-score game.
Yeah. Yeah, so and then the Pascal touchdown right off the bat, kind of that was ball
2-minute drive, and then it was game over.
Yeah, so it was good to see, and I think it's something that they really needed to do. They really needed to – at some point, if you're only playing a half of football, it's going to catch up to you.
Yeah, and it was such a big deal in this game because with 9 minutes and 24 seconds, they pulled their offensive starters, which that's nice in any game. But when you have a short week and you have to play a football game in a few days, that's really helpful.
Yeah, we talked about that on pregame. Might have been radio pregame. I don't even remember just how nice it would be to build a big lead and get some of the older guys off the field or all the guys with a game in 4 days. That was really, really big. I mean, it's weird seeing Kelsey on the sideline.
Yeah, in a Batman.
That's almost not as weird. It's like
right.
It's like less surprising that he's missing snaps than he's got a Batman mask on. But it's not easy to play 2 games in 5 days. So to get these guys off the field was huge. I think it might have been your question. Kelsey said he felt better than he normally does after a game. Yeah. So
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Play less, you feel better.
Yeah. No doubt.
And then in the locker room right after the game, they already had the bikes in there. They're already into next week. Whereas like normally you'll hear, once the Eagles release that post-game speech, it's like, all right, enjoy this win, and then we'll be back here on Wednesday again. No, it's enjoy this for right now because we're already into next week. And you could tell they were trying to flip the mindset Ted Rath was running around like a crazy person in the locker room saying, one of those starts now, one of those starts now. So that's clearly they're got to move on because it comes quick.
Ted Rath's a little out there.
He's fun, man. He must. I was joking with Jimmy Kempsky today. Like, how many steps do you think he gets on a game day?
Yeah. He's
and that's the strength and conditioning coach.
No, he's director of sports performance.
Okay,
I believe is his title. Yeah, he's fun to watch. This is an interesting team in that it seems like, I mean, physically a short week is gonna, but I mean, obviously the Texans have that as well. They're not on the road, but this team is so focused. That stuff, trap games,
which is a good thing because look at the schedule. Like they have to bring it each week.
Yeah,
because they're playing teams that aren't as good as them.
Yeah, they've won 12 straight games that they've been favored in, which is a really interesting stat because they don't lose games. The last game they lost and when they were favored was that Giants game up at the Meadowlands last year when Jalen had his last bad game other than Tampa. And they've never lost as a favorite at the Link under Nick. Their last home loss as a favorite was under Doug in 2020. So they're very focused. Stuff like back-to-back road games or short weeks or Monday night, whatever it is, it doesn't seem to affect them. They just kind of go play.
What do you think that is? You think that's just leadership?
I think it's dog mentality. What I think it is this team really does focus on the next rep, the next meeting, the next play. Nobody can do that all the time, 100%. You know who you're playing and but to not get caught up in it.
It's so easy to say too.
Yeah,
it really is. And it's like everyone in the league says it because that's what you're supposed to do, but it's so much harder to actually do it.
I think they do it.
I do too. I mean, the proof is in the pudding here.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the reasons they're 7-0. Because this Pittsburgh game, I've seen teams, we've all seen teams that, all right, you've won a few games in a row. Pittsburgh's coming in. We know they're not very good, but
you just play down.
That letdown.
You play down to the other team's level.
This team doesn't do that.
No, you play your game, and it was the best game we've seen them play because they stepped on their necks and finished it.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You deserve a car that thrills you, a car that puts goosebumps on your goosebumps. At Nissan, we've got everything from turbocharged SUVs to 100% electric vehicles that'll make your heart beat faster. Experience the thrill for yourself and shop your local Nissan store at nissanusa.com today.
All right, let's talk about the defense a little bit, and then we'll get into a negativity corner at the end. Steelers ended up with 300 yards on offense. They were able to move the ball at times. They have some players there. I mean, Najee is a good running back. Freiermuth is a pretty good tight end.
Yeah, they had like 13 yards after getting tackled on one play.
Chase Claypool's tough to bring down. We saw that. So, they made some plays.
Deontay Johnson caught 100 balls last year.
Yeah, and they target him.
I don't think Pickens caught a pass
50 times a game.
Yeah, they really do. I don't think Pickens caught a pass.
0 catches on 3 targets.
And none of those guys really, Deontay Johnson had 5 catches, but for 35 yards.
On 9 targets. They throw the ball. Some of it's short stuff.
That's under 4 yards a target. Yeah. Freiermuth had 57. Claypool had 45. We've seen him kill this team. Visions of Nate Gary running after Chase Claypool. But, none of those guys really hurt. And what I liked about the defense, they had 6 sacks. 4 of them were from interior linemen, which was good to see.
Good. Javon had a big game.
Javon had a couple and forced the fumble that Avante recovered.
Marlon Tuipulotu had his first career
sack for Marlon. Milton Williams got in there, who we really haven't seen a whole lot from.
He's had a quiet season.
Stretch. And Javon had a quiet season, really. So
he only had 1 sack coming in today.
Yeah, he was really active. And we don't know how long Jordan Davis is going to be out for, but those guys are going to all have to, help fill in. He was playing really well.
Yeah, it's a shame we don't know yet. He was in a walking boot, crutches. Fletcher said he got rolled up on, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not a season ender, and you can get him back because they're a different defense with them out there.
No question.
They still have other good players.
Yeah,
and they're going to need other guys if they want to continue to run their defense the way they've been running it. They're going to need other guys to play that role.
Yeah.
So it'll be Javon a lot. Marlon will have to do it.
Marlon's not bad.
No,
he can play a little bit.
Play a little bit.
Yeah, He shows up every game. He makes a couple plays.
Yeah.
But here, what I really liked, and they had the 2 takeaways in the second half, but what I really liked about the defense was.
And they could have had more.
Yeah, Epps dropped a pick.
Slay dropped a pick.
Pick
6, maybe.
Yeah, probably where he was on the field. Pittsburgh scored early on the second drive. They had a nice long drive. They got in the end zone.
Really long drive. And that was the, kind of a weird, the BG.
Yeah. We can throw that in negativity corner. But their next 4 drives into Eagles territory, they got down to the 20, kicked a field goal, got to the 11, kicked a field goal, got to the 36. That's when Hargrave forced the fumble. And then they got down to the 20, and that's when the Eagles got the pick. So they had 4 drives into, well into Eagles territory that netted 6 points. And that's really been Pickett's kind of MO this year. He puts up really good numbers between the 20s, and then there's mistakes in the red zone or inside the 30, and that's what we saw. And you never felt like they were going to get in the end zone on those drives, and
they shouldn't have on the first one.
Yeah, and they shouldn't have on the first one. And I think that was Gannon's plan today. It was like, you can have all the short stuff you want. We're not, you're not going over the top, and we're going to keep you out of the end zone. And they did that.
Yeah. And they didn't just sack Pickett; they hit him pretty hard.
Well, the hardest one might have been the BG one that got negated.
Yeah,
by a penalty.
The BG one, and then the Reddick one was ferocious. That was on a stunt.
Yeah,
Reddick picked up another sack.
He did. What's he got? 5.5.
5.5 through 7 games.
Yeah. It was good to see because they only had, I believe, 6 sacks in 3 games since Washington. So it's good to see him get going a little bit there. I like the D, and you can hold any team to 13 points.
Yeah, I mean anything that you're talking about they don't like is nitpicky. Gardner Johnson had his first sack as an Eagle.
Yeah,
had another opportunistic interception.
Yeah.
Which look, he's not like a lot of his picks so far have been. Yeah, the ball pops to him and he catches it, but he catches it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're going to need to make those plays as a safety.
Yeah. And, I liked his he did a nice job on that sack of, containing and.
No, had a good game. Avonte Maddox.
He did.
And that's a tough matchup for him going against Chase Claypool.
He had that one tackle where it was like a 6-yard loss on a short pass. He timed it,
yeah.
That was really sweet. Could have maybe gotten the pick, but yeah, Avonte's playing. He's been really good.
One of the most underrated players on that defense.
Yeah.
Now, maybe not like there are better players on that defense, but I don't want to overlook him because he's been solid.
You can say the same thing about Epps, and he hasn't made the big plays. He had a chance to make one today, but he's been solid. And this, Kaiser White as well.
Yeah. Good TJ game.
TJ, I think was he the one who got his hand on the ball? That that got picked off. So yeah. I don't have any complaints about the defense other than some of those run plays. They're just missing tackles that they shouldn't miss. And
and the Steelers went in their bag a little bit with misdirection, sweep stuff.
But still,
the touchdown play was a great call.
It was, but that team should not run for 144 yards. Look, I don't think you're going to beat the Eagles running, because they're going to score 35 points in this game, but I just wish they tackled better.
Pittsburgh held the ball 34 minutes and 18 seconds.
Because they kept running it.
Which is funny because they were down big this game.
That's what teams
held
do.
It for 34 minutes.
Teams do that. We've seen a lot. I mean, we've seen teams do that against the Eagles.
Yeah.
They're down. They don't care.
It's a tough recipe.
But teams are averaging more yards per run than per pass against this team. So, I mean, they average 6 yards a pass. They average 3.4 yards per pass and 6 yards per run.
Yeah.
So the best way to come back when you're down is to run it.
Good luck.
It's different, but
try to get out of bounds.
You'd like to see that number come down.
Yeah. Negativity corner.
Yeah, and that's a good transition.
It is. Yeah. That can be a part of it. Obviously, Jordan Davis. That stinks. Hoping
that's not really negativity, though. I don't think an injury. I think that's more unfortunate.
Okay. Unfortunate T.
Yeah.
Well, let's just go to the obvious one. Special teams.
Yeah.
We're beating the same old drum here. It hasn't been good.
Nope. And
with the exception today of a fantastic play from Zach McPherson.
That was a great play.
That is so hard.
Yeah.
So hard to have the awareness and the ability to get that ball and keep it
He's been good all year. He's their best special teams player.
He's become a very, very good special teamer.
Yeah. He's their best special team. I think he's their best special teams player. But yeah, I mean, I think they had a long return that got negated, so that doesn't count. The Eagles didn't get anything out of the return game. They had Devontae back there for 1. He got 3 yards. Yeah. At least Covey at least is okay on kick returns. He's at least getting 23, 24 yards. But there's just and they got faked out again, another fake punt.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it wasn't like a fancy fake.
No. I just don't think Michael Clay has his team prepared. Yeah. I just don't. And he's not going away, so.
Yeah, it's the thing, because it's like it doesn't really matter in this game, but it's in the back of your mind. It's like if they get in a close game and they screw up one big play on special teams, it can cost them.
Yeah. Yeah, it gives you an uneasy feeling every time they're in the kicking game.
Yeah. Yeah.
What else in the negativity corner? We talked about run defense, which it's not a huge concern, but it's a little bit concerning.
Yeah.
But tackling overall, this is not a good tackling team, and I'm not sure why.
I thought they were okay today.
Just okay, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean,
they were according to PFF, you take that for what it's worth, they were the best tackling team in the league last year, and now they're worst.
Yeah.
Why is that? I don't get it. They're just missing too many tackles.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing on a short week you look for. That's the kind of thing that concerns you. Derrick Henry, all of a sudden, he's not the Derrick Henry of old, but, if you don't tackle him, he's going to keep running.
Yeah.
So it's a concern. I don't have a whole lot else in the negativity corner. Hurts did have 9 incomplete passes. He ran into a couple sacks, which was
he did, and there was one where it wasn't a sack, but the ball got like batted.
Yeah,
he probably should have seen that. I don't know. His awareness was just a little off on that, but that is extremely nitpicky.
It is. Yeah. He brought it up.
Did he?
He's so hard on himself. He said, I can't really talk about, he was asked about the 4 touchdown passes. I can't really talk about that. I'm still mad at all the plays we left out on the field.
I mean, it's funny because they did Dallas Goedert was kind of joking, but what he said was true. He was like, AJ could have had 4 touchdowns. And then a little later, he's like, actually could have had 5.
Well, the one where Minka tackled him, I think it was just before Miles' touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
I think if Minka doesn't get him, I think he goes in.
That we're off on a tangent now because it's supposed to be negative, but that burst from AJ Brown on that play is wild.
Yeah.
People don't think of him as being just a straight line speed runner. He's fast. He can run.
Yeah, and he's explosive. He's just I don't know if he would. I don't know what his 40 time would be, but his 0 to 60 is he just gets into gear really quickly, and he maintains that speed cutting as well, which is really cool. He's able to stop, maybe jump cut and then get back to full speed really quick. He's an incredible player. He's
so much fun to watch.
I had seen him play,
it's like you're not watching him every week, though.
Yeah.
You're not really.
I had no idea how gifted he is. I love his attitude. I love his mentality, his hunger, his approach to the game. I'm blown away by the kid. Yeah. And just kudos to Howie. Just had a pretty good offseason.
He certainly did. And we'll see if he's done acquiring talent.
We should talk about that real quick. I guess we'll have another podcast before the deadline, but what's your gut feeling? I think they're done.
I'm not so sure.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not so sure. I have a hunch that he's not done.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Like position?
Yeah. Running back, safety.
I think one of those two would make sense to me. And interestingly, Dillard was out there at the end of the game. You think they were showcasing him a little bit?
I'd just be really careful with that.
I would too.
Yeah. But, if it's...
You get a 3.
If you get a 3, I think you pull the trigger on that deal.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll be fascinating to see if he does anything else. It's not like you make one trade and then you're all of a sudden done. If they can do something else, they'll do something else.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, he's going to be on the phone nonstop till 4:00 Tuesday. It's just a matter of whether they make the move. One thing I think they might do is I could see Howie like trading a 7 or a condition. They don't have that many picks.
Yeah, they have 6, but 2 of them are first round picks.
Yeah, which is kind of a nice problem to have.
Yeah. Nice, but it doesn't help you trying to trade.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if he might try to get some special teams help. A bottom of the roster guy for a 7 or we'll see. But I'm guessing they're done. It'll be interesting. Okay. Yeah.
It is interesting. Anything else from today?
I just want to say Jalen is the 4th youngest quarterback to ever start a season 7-0.
Okay.
Behind Dan Marino, Dante Culpepper with the Vikings in 2000, and Jared Goff in 2018 with the Rams.
Wow, he was that young.
And Kyler Murray, well, they lost their 7th game last year. I think they were 6-0.
Okay.
He's one day older than Jalen when he won a 6th straight. But of that group, I believe Marino and Goff won their next game. So, but I mean, we're seeing unprecedented stuff considering Jalen's age, lack of experience. He's one of the best quarterbacks in football right now.
Yeah, he is.
And it's incredible.
A few other things for me. Robert Quinn got out there.
Yeah. What do you think he played? About 10 snaps? 8?
Maybe a little more. I don't know. Yeah, it was tough to tell in real time, but it looked okay. I mean, got some decent little pressure. Jumped way offsides on one in neutral zone, but that happens.
Yeah.
I like his commitment to wearing sweatpants. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
He wore sweatpants over his game pants during warmups, and then apparently this is something he does. He wears them like in between series.
Really?
He like over his game pants, and then he has like a beanie on.
Interesting.
I appreciate that. And during warmups, a few of the equipment guys tried to like tell him to take them off, and he was not happy about it.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I could see you doing a story on that.
Might be right. You saw Stefan Wisniewski?
Yeah, he came over to the WIP pregame show.
Yeah.
He's living in State College.
Is he?
But did not go to the Ohio State game yesterday.
The heck?
He said it's easy to get a lot of errands done during the game.
I bet it is.
He said, you can drop off your laundry. There's not going to be a line at the laundromat on a game day.
My mom does that. She'll go like during Eagles games, she'll go like grocery shopping. She does it during Super Bowl, which really irritates me. But yeah, she goes and
I bet the stores are pretty empty.
Yeah, it is. Anything else?
No.
All right, let's wrap this up. If you enjoy the Eagle Eye podcast, please rate and subscribe wherever you get your pods. If you're watching on YouTube, please click the like.
Should we mention what we're doing tomorrow?
Button and subscribe there as well. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We're doing a Reddit AMA tomorrow, Dave and I. AMA. Looking forward to it. I've never done one. I've read a lot of them, followed a lot of them, mainly bands and stuff. But we're doing it at noon. So check that out and send us some questions. Should be fun.
It should be. All right, that's it. This has been Eagle Eye presented by Nissan. For Reuben, I'm Dave. We'll talk to you soon.